وذلك على الرغم من الأمر.
I'm Anne-Sophie Gounine, and this is Paris Calling. Today, Alia Ibrahim, Beirut, Lebanon.
I was born in Tripoli, but I came to study in Beirut and never left. Tripoli is my birthplace. Beirut is my choice. It's a city of freedom. Beirut is unlike any other city in the Arab world. Even when it's exhausted, even when it's broken, there's still something alive here, some spark that refuses to die. There's food, chaos, politics, art, debate, and there's a kind of freedom you won't find elsewhere.
In a city that has lived through explosions, collapse, and renewal, truth in Beirut itself can feel like a fragile thing. But for renowned Lebanese journalist Alia Ibrahim, it has always been the point. From her start at a Lebanese daily newspaper to her breakthrough as one of the Arab world's rare female TV war correspondents, to co-founding the innovative Arabic news site Daraj, no matter the medium, Ibrahim has made journalism her life's calling.
9 to 5 job.
Journalism isn't just a job. It's a way of life. It will affect everything. Your relationships, your time, your peace of mind. It's not a 9 to 5 career. If you really love it, though, it's the most rewarding profession in the world. I've never felt like I was working. For years, I used to say, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do my hobby. But you have to give it everything. There's no halfway in journalism. You give it your time, your energy, your heart. And above all, stay curious. Never stop asking questions. The moment you stop being curious, you stop being a journalist.
Ibrahim began her career at Lebanon's Daily Star, serving first as a reporter and eventually managing editor, at a time when the country was rebuilding from civil war, and when the press, though vibrant, was often caught in the crossfire of politics and power. She would eventually land a reporting job at the Washington Post, which presented a whole different set of challenges.
I joined the Post in 2002, not long after September 11. I was still in my 20s, young and ambitious. Suddenly, I found myself working for one of the biggest newspapers in the world, right at a moment when global perceptions of Arabs and Muslims were very tense. I was covering Arab and Muslim communities in the US at a time when Islamophobia was peaking. It was not easy at all. You constantly felt the weight of representation. You were expected to explain a whole culture, a whole region. The first major story I worked on was related to 9/11. It was a huge responsibility. They wanted someone who could speak Arabic and navigate both worlds, and that was me. It was intimidating, but I learned a lot about discipline and precision. The editing process there was extremely rigorous. Every word mattered.
Eventually, Ibrahim would make the shift to television, working at Arabiya, a leading Middle East network. She would spend the next decade covering a tumultuous period across the region, including the Arab Spring and multiple wars. But her first experience with conflict reporting would be in her own country.
That period was extremely heavy. You're reporting from your own country, which makes it so much harder emotionally. When you cover war abroad, you can keep a bit of distance. But when it's your own home, your family, your city, it's personal. At that time, I had just become a mother. My son was a baby when the 2006 war broke out. So imagine, you're trying to report on airstrikes while also worrying about your baby's safety. It's an impossible balance. The first time you face real danger, you panic. I remember during that July war in Lebanon, Israeli jets were bombing bridges and we were driving under one of them. The plane flew over us. I remember instinctively hiding under the bridge, even though that's the worst place to be. At that time, I hadn't yet trained for war coverage. Later, I learned security measures, what to do, what not to do. You become more careful, but fear never really goes away. You just learn to manage it.
شعور طبيعي.
Over the years, Ibrahim has become one of the most visible female journalists in the region and a mentor for a generation of women determined to speak for themselves. Still, on a day-to-day level, it was always just about doing her job, regardless of gender.
أنا شخصياً ولا مرة
Personally, I never felt being a woman was an obstacle. In some cases, it was actually an advantage. In conservative societies, men couldn't enter homes or talk to women, but I could. I could sit with families, talk to mothers and daughters, hear their stories in ways male reporters couldn't. That gave me access to an entirely different layer of truth. During wars, men often only see the front lines. Women see the homes, the kitchens, the human side. Of course, I know not all women have the same experience. Some of my colleagues faced harassment or exclusion. But I was lucky. I always worked with professional crews and colleagues who respected me. I remember once being stopped at a checkpoint while pregnant. The soldiers were suspicious. I laughed and said, "Really? You think I'm a threat? Look at me. I'm 8 months pregnant." Humor sometimes saves you.
أنا بنوصل بس أكيد في فرق.
After years of crisscrossing the region and the world, a new ambition would bring her back home. A decade ago, with fellow journalists Diana Mokled and Hazem Alamin, Ibrahim co-founded the news website Daraj. Taking the name from the Arabic word for stairs, the objective was to seek a loftier brand of journalism, free of the region's competing political, religious, economic, and governmental powers, and to cover the Middle East, freely and in Arabic.
ستارلينك ومرفق بيروت والفجوة الملكية. 3 ملفات أساسية شفناها كيف تطورت خلال الأسابيع الماضية.
درج مش لبناني.
Daraj could only have been born here. It's based in Beirut, but it speaks to the entire Arab world. There's no other place in the region where an independent platform like ours could have survived. Not in Egypt, not in the Gulf, not in Syria, not in Yemen. Beirut is small, but it's open. It started as a shared frustration. Around 2016, I was working for Al Arabiya. Diana was also there, and our friend Hazem was at Al Hayat. All 3 of us Lebanese worked in Saudi-owned media. The Yemen war was happening, and the editorial restrictions were becoming unbearable. We realized we were no longer telling the truth. We were just repeating narratives. We all felt that we had become part of the problem rather than the solution. So, we decided to do something different, to build a platform that was ours, independent, fearless, and regional. That's how Daraj was born. We wanted a space for Arab journalists to tell stories freely, without censorship, without fear.
Paris Calling is a World Crunch podcast. Post-production and interview done by Hagar Farouk and narration by me and Sophie Goninet. Editing is by Jeff Israeli. Credit to Arab Ambience, ITN Archive, and Daraj Media for sound used in this production. Voice matching software was used in the creation of the English language audio of Alia Ibrahim. With each episode of Paris Calling, we discover someone else, somewhere else. Support us with likes, shares, and ratings on your favorite platforms.